Hi, I'm Andy Fass, chef and owner of Amelia's Restaurant. Amelia's Restaurant has been here in downtown Gainesville behind the Hippodrome Theater for 35 years. I took over as chef and owner here in 2007. I've been here the past 13 years. All right, today we're gonna cook shrimp Amelia. It's basically an adaptation of shrimp scampi, but we add a little bit of paprika for color, a little bit of smoky flavor, and it's one of our signature dishes here at Amelia's. For this dish, you'll need a little bit of linguine pasta, need a couple cloves of garlic, some fresh basil, fresh lemons for lemon juice, butter, salt, pepper, paprika, a little bit of parsley for garnish. You also need a little bit of oil, vegetable oil. We use a 75% vegetable, 25% olive oil mix for our cooking, for our sauteing. And you'll need some cooking wine, preferably a dry white wine that you also like to drink. Equipment-wise, you don't need too many things. Just need a big pot for boiling off some pasta. You'll need a colander to reserve the pasta water from the pasta that you're cooking. You'll need something to get the juice out of your lemons, either a lemon squeezer or a little small strainer, and a knife or two to be able to peel and devein the shrimp. We're also missing the secret ingredient for the shrimp Amelia, shrimp. We use some nice large 16-20 Gulf shrimp. If you do get them unpeeled and undeveined, they're pretty easy to peel. What you want to do is just hold, if you're right-handed like me, just hold the tail in your right hand. You're going to want to get your left thumb underneath the beginning part of the shell of the shrimp here, and kind of just peel back the different layers of the shrimp shell. Once you get it all peeled like that, the rest of it just pulls off just like so. Now for deveining the shrimp, basically taking out the digestive tract of the shrimp, you can use a paring knife like what I have here. Just hold the shrimp, just a kind of a very easy slit from the top to the back, and you'll see the digestive tract here in the shrimp comes right out, and that is garbage. One more little knife skill trick that we need to use for this dish is slicing some garlic. We generally the garlic has a root end, non-root end. Some people like to just chop off the root end so they're sure they don't get it in the dish entirely. What we like to do is just chop or slice from the non-root end to the root end. So let me get this garlic cloves out of the way so you can see. And real slow, just going to kind of do real small, tight slivers of garlic. And then when you get to the root end, you've hit the end, and that piece can come out right there in the process. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook off some pasta in advance of making the shrimp Amelia. What this allows us to do is to reserve the cooked off pasta water, which has a nice starchy content to it. Binds really well with fats such as butter to emulsify into a nice, smooth, thicker sauce than what you would find without the pasta water in it. It's an old kitchen trick that not a lot of home cooks utilize very much, but we find here that for vegetarian sauces, vegetarian soups, it just kind of gives a nice velvety, more thicker texture to the sauce from the starch content binding to the butter in it. So to cook off pasta, you want to get a pot of boiling water. We choose not to salt our pasta water. Culinarily, it is better to salt your pasta water, but in this kitchen, we're trying to make dishes that satisfy all people's tastes and allergies, dietary restrictions. We can always add salt to a dish. We can't take it out of the dish. It's a lot easier for us to use the non-salted pasta water. You're gonna want to kind of drop your pasta in just a little bit at a time. This will prevent it initially from clumping up, sticking together. As soon as you have it in the pot, you're going to want to kind of move it around a little bit with your tongs or a pasta spoon, pasta fork, to kind of keep the pasta separated. Now, it's not essential that you keep moving it the entire time. Every couple of maybe 30 seconds to a minute or so, kind of check back with your pasta, make sure that it's not clumping up together. You'll want to make sure that your pasta is slightly undercooked. Now, there's a couple reasons for that. First, it's going to continue to cook a little bit while it's cooling off. Secondly, you're going to reheat it again when you plate it with your shrimp Amelia. So if you already have overcooked pasta, by the time you're trying to plate your dish, it's just going to become even more overcooked. And so we like to cook it a little bit under, or as the Italians say, al dente, to the tooth. And you can kind of tell how that is. This is definitely underdone because the pasta snaps right in half. Okay. Once it gets to the point of al dente, it'll stay together. It'll still kind of a little bit of give to it, but it won't snap in half like that. It's definitely undercooked. A lot of pasta instructions on the containers tell you a certain amount of time to cook your pasta. While it's a good reference point and a good average, things like altitude, the saltiness of your water, and the speed of your range in getting your water to a boil will definitely have some impact on those packaged ingredient times for cooking pasta. So always check it out every little once in a while. So what we're going to do is strain off the pasta here. You did it correctly. Nothing should really stick to the bottom of your pan. We're just going to let the pasta cool off at room temperature. Now, an important thing to do is to give a couple teaspoons of oil to your pasta and get that oil distributed. It doesn't need to be soaking in the oil, but it just needs to be enough to kind of coat the pasta so that it's not sticking to itself and creating large clumps of pasta. All right, ready for the fun part? Next, we're actually going to make the shrimp Amelia. I'm going to start with about a teaspoon of blended oil. Heat is fairly high heat initially to start. You want to get the oil kind of toasting a little bit, and that way it'll keep the cooking process pretty quick. Okay, once your pan's moderately hot, you can go ahead and throw in your garlic. Now, if you throw your garlic in too early, don't worry. It's gonna will caramelize just fine. Okay, when you start to see it turning light brown, you're gonna want to take it off the heat, move your heat down a little bit to more of a lower temperature. And you're gonna want to deglaze the pan with about a 1/4 cup of white wine. We turn it down low to prevent it from flaring up, but you definitely want to turn it back up so that it gets to a boil. That'll cook off all the alcohol content in your white wine, give it the flavor we're looking for. Next, you're going to want to add about 4 ounces of your pasta water that we've reserved from cooking off the pasta. You're going to want to add the juice of about 2 to 3 lemons, depending on how much juice your lemons are giving off. If you don't have a lemon squeezer, a mesh strainer will do just fine. Just trying to keep the seeds out of your sauce here. So I did 4 half lemons, which is the equivalent of 2 lemons. Next, you're going to want to add a little bit of salt, probably about 1/2 teaspoon, a little bit more or less to taste. You're going to want to add about 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. You want to add about a full teaspoon of paprika. Paprika really makes a mess of your fingers, so I'm going to use a spoon for this one. Finally, you're going to want to add about 2 tablespoons of butter. We use unsalted butter for the same reason that I indicated before. is we can always add salt to it, but we can't take it away. So roughly about 2 tablespoons of butter. Kind of bring it all together. Okay, once all the butter is melted, we're going to go ahead and turn it off. And we're going to put the shrimp in. We're going to let the shrimp just steam. Cooking shrimp is a fairly quick process, but they overcook extremely quickly. So you just want to make sure that you've got a good control on your temperature on the range, so that the shrimp don't overcook on you. Okay, so now, as you can see here, the butter has pretty much emulsified with the pasta water, creating a kind of nice velvety sauce. At this point, we're going to add the shrimp. We're just going to kind of get them all in here. All right. We're going to put a lid on our pan, wait about 2 minutes, get them off. So a lot of people, when they're cooking the shrimp at home, they're continuing the cooking process, boiling the shrimp. When you boil the shrimp, you're essentially raising the temperature of the shrimp to 212 degrees, which will make them overcook really quickly. They're fully cooked at 165. So if you want to just let them steam, you can even just turn your pan on low and let them just kind of simmer. But always kind of check on them after about a minute or two, make sure they're not overcooking on you. Shrimp will turn from opaque or clear to fully white when they're cooked. That's how you basically know when they're done. When they curl up a little bit too much and become tightly wound around the tail, they're overcooked at that point, unfortunately. All right, so about a minute of steaming here. I'm going to kind of flip them over in the sauce, and you can kind of see as I'm flipping them over that they are done on this side and not done on the other side. We'll make sure that they're all pink side up. Continue cooking them on low, get the other side there, and then we'll plate them up. Alright, there we go. Okay, at this point, I'm just going to turn my pan on pretty low. Not bring them up to a full boil, but just kind of bring them back up to a simmer to have them continue to finish cooking on the other side. Okay. Now when you see that they're pretty much white throughout, can't see any opaqueness, pretty much done. What we're going to do is we're going to take them out of the pan here for just a second or two. All right, now we're ready to plate it up. We're going to throw in a couple leaves of basil. You want to throw them in also at the last minute. They'll turn black, brownish on you if they overcook for too long. So we'll throw them right in the sauce. Then we're going to take about 2 servings of pasta that we just cooked off. Place that in our sauce. Usually do about 2 ounces of pasta per serving. And kind of get this coated in the sauce. I'm going to bring them to a plate. Then we're going to throw our shrimp back in just to get them hot. Also covered with sauce. We did about 6 shrimp per order. These are 16-20 size shrimp, which means there's 16 to 20 of them in a pound. Roughly about an ounce of shrimp, so about 5 to 6 ounces of shrimp per serving. All right. And by the end, you should have about the right amount of sauce. Go Garlic on that one. Get some garlic cloves for this one. A little bit of parsley for garnish if you like, in color. And here we have it, shrimp Amelia for 2. Just like we do it at Amelia's.